to say just a little bit about how this particular common person became a part of this community. For years, I lived by a particular philosophy, and it was a philosophy put forward by a great philosopher and theologian. Let me say, I must get a prop. It was Groucho Marx. And Groucho Marx said, "I'd never join a club that would have me as a member." Well, that's the way I lived. And that was my spiritual search. I was a spiritual wanderer. As a child, the most important thing to me in my life were the Knights of the Round Table. And I wanted to be a Knight of the Round Table. That was community. But my spiritual search was really for the Holy Grail. And this is what I call the A to Zen and back again part of my life, where I tried all kinds of different spiritual things. And what I thought was the important thing was gathering life experiences. That was what it was about. Riding an elephant one day, selling postcards in front of the Metropolitan Museum the next day. But what I missed is that life is really about experiencing life. And of course, my journey led back to this area, and I got married, and as you may have heard Pastor Mark reference last week, that when my wife Bess came here, and she started to really be moved by what she was seeing here and feeling here, she said to me, and it's the old fairy tale rule of threes, "Joe, just come 3 times. You know what happens to Rumpelstiltskin when he goes 3 times. You know, all those fairy tales." But I said, all right. And I stopped resisting at that 3rd time. But still, I wasn't a part of the community. I kept resisting communion. The plate would go by, and I would pass it up. The juice would go by, I would pass that up. And then I started thinking that the oldest rule of hospitality is to share a meal. And then I started to think and looked up the word companion. And I think we certainly are all companions, is that the com means to share with, and pane is bread. We share bread. We are disciples, and we are companions. When I allowed myself to become part of this greater journey, I've made so many friends here. I have enjoyed so much. This is an incredible community of people. The choir is its own separate community that I get to lend, and I'm not sure it's always such a great thing, but I get to lend my voice to. And I have a joy in being here. And Sunday mornings, we go to Sunday school. I thought that was something Andy of Mayberry did, not Joe Lee. But I love coming to Sunday school. I love hearing what the wise words of Nancy. I just, and this sanctuary. Let's look at it. I sit in the back. Sometimes I sit up there. Sometimes I'm fortunate enough to be up here. And I see that tree of life. As a kid, I looked for service after service at the cross of Calvary. I didn't realize that that cross and that tree of life are the same thing. I am honored to sit here with that tree of life and with all the roots and branches that we are. And one thing that I learned on the circus is that the worst thing that can happen to a circus is called the blowdown. And the blowdown is when literally the tent is blown down. Now, I was fortunate enough in my working on the circus never to experience that. But you have to have a place for the show. This is a show. This is a sanctuary. If I'm quiet for just a moment, there's traffic outside, but it's quiet in here. This is a place of peace. Every bit as much as when Quasimodo went into Notre Dame and kept off the people of Paris. This is a sanctuary. And I look, the bread, the grail, it's here. It's here. And the circle closes, and I return to the club that I always wanted to be a member of, where I am always welcome. It's there in our bulletin every week, our welcome. We're all welcome. And that's why this particular common person is part of this community and why I intend to be here for life. Thank you.